You're a former Muslim, Arab, Israeli.
You could say
Palestinian.
86% of the Arabs here are Arab Muslims, and they're on top of the food chain. People tried to stab me outside of my house like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It didn't go so well for them. It was just because of my ruthless aggression.
What are you? Because I think that most people who are want to watch this video are going to say you're a former Muslim, Arab, Israeli.
You could say
Palestinian.
You could say Palestinian. I don't agree with it. Right, personally today as a mature adult, I don't think I agree with the term Palestinian. I don't think I was a Palestinian ever. But my family still identifies as Palestinian.
Your family identifies as Palestinian.
Yeah, and they have since I've known them, and that's my family. Mm-hmm. And it's not just them. I think many Arabs do, because they don't really have a choice. You could say they are Arab Israelis, but at the same time, what happens whenever there's a conflict? They're always going to take the other side.
The Palestinian side. Yeah. So permission to ask more dumb questions?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask you all the questions that I would imagine somebody who clicks on this video and sees a former Palestinian Muslim, Arab, Israeli Jew.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask all the questions I presume that they would want to ask. Obviously, it's something that's known knowledge that the name actually comes from a place of colonization, not a place of indigeneity to here. But do you not feel any sort of localism or nativism to that name, to that connection, to that culture or preconceived culture?
No. There's nothing that makes Arabs Palestinians. Even when I was an Arab, there's nothing that connects Palestine and Palestinianism into anything that makes it a distinct culture. You know what I mean? Or a way of life or anything. Like we think about orange trees and olive trees, and we think about the soap factory that's just right there when they talk about Palestinian history.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that really connects us and turns us into people, Palestinian people, because we're not. We're just a combination of all of these Arabs from neighboring country.
Arabs of the Levant.
Yeah, Arabs of the Levant. Just an FYI,
yeah.
Actually, I don't think these people are. I don't think they're fully Arab. If you think about it,
I actually agree with that.
They're mixed from from everything, and it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. You can't just wake up and be like, I'm not an Arab anymore. It doesn't work like that. But I think it's a process that takes many years for you to one day and wake up and say I don't identify as one of these people. I'm not one of them. I don't believe in anything they believe in. My culture is not as their culture. The way I see life, the way, my semantic, everything is just so different. So I'm not one of them. I just may look like them. I can speak their language.
Now I have to ask this because I have a rudimentary understanding of Islam and what it means to be Arab. But I'll never say that I'll know 100% because I've never studied it. But I know from everything that I know in Islam, when you leave Islam, it's a big deal,
right.
And especially and Palestinian family ties are very, very important, or Arab family ties are super important.
Yeah.
How is that led up for you? What is it like for you with your family now? Do you have a family still?
I don't really have a family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a family, but I would say, my mother sent me so many death threats.
Really?
Yeah, my mother. She could never accept it. The term for someone who leaves their religion, for apostasy, an apostate, it would be murtad.
Murtad?
Yeah, basically it's someone that is I don't want to say disowned, but you become the enemy of the people. There's an actual halakha that helps you kill a murtad.
Really?
Yep.
It's allowed, it's permissible.
Yep.
And you felt like people have ever tried to do that to you? Or that
people tried to stab me outside of my house a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It didn't go so well for them.
You mentioned you were a former Muay Thai fighter.
Right. but it wasn't because of my Muay Thai. I think it was just because of my ruthless aggression. I don't think there was technique that day. I did not use kicks. I did not use knees or anything of the sort. It was a bad encounter with them. It was just outside of my house. They came to me. They said, we heard you have issues with Arabs. You keep talking about Arabs, and we are here for the principle. So we're gonna take care of you. I'm like, that's the wrong guy to try to take care of. It's not that simple.
I think if I have to make a outside observance, it's the first time me and Timur are meeting today. We've been chatting just a little bit online. But if I have to make a claim or an observation, to live the life that you live, you must have a hell of confidence in what you're saying and how you feel about yourself and the outside world, no? Like, you must have a lot of confidence in what you're saying, like a true belief in it and a belief to defend it.
Almost. I do have confidence, but not in myself. I have great confidence in God. I know Hashem is my friend. I don't have many friends, but whenever someone asks me, like, do you have any friends? I say, Hashem is my friend. So I believe I can walk into the fire and everything will be okay. It's an inner, it's built in. I don't even know how to explain it.
You feel like someone's protecting you, someone from above.
I feel like I do have some private hashgacha pratit, hashgacha, you know.
So this is an area where you grew up.
Yeah, that was my childhood right here, but it wasn't so fancy. It was just rocks and sand and stones and people wearing hair. It wasn't so crowded.
What was it like for you as a kid here, growing up in Yafo? Did you feel? This is a good question to ask.
Yeah.
Did you feel othered, like, growing up? Did you feel like you were a Palestinian living in a Jewish land? Like, did you feel like conviction against the place that you were living in?
I don't think I was. I think I was mature enough or old enough to understand what land was or meant. I wasn't brainwashed at that. In that way, where I was thinking about land, these things. I think the conflict here was more character versus character. It was the Jewish character versus the Arab character. It was the Muslim character versus the Christian character. It was the Bedouin character versus the regular Muslim character. It was the regular Muslim character versus the black character, that is a Muslim black character. And then we were kind of trained and educated and indoctrinated to believe in whatever hierarchy, social hierarchy, a structure that... Sorry, PTSD, I thought it was a rocket.
Same.
Where you had like the Arab Muslim, which are the vast majority of the Arabs, right?
Yep.
So about 86% of the Arabs here are Arab Muslims. And they're on top of the food chain, right? So they're at the very top. And right below them...
They're the ones who quote-unquote run shit. Like, that's the...
They're the voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's the voice of the Arab. You know, when you think about the majority of the Arabs, you're thinking about the Arab Muslims. You don't really think about the Arab Christians, even though we said they're not Arabs, but come on, let's give them. They're Arabs, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're what, 6%? You know what I mean? 5% of the Arabs. They're below 1% of the entire population.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't really count, unfortunately. And then you have like the Bedouins, which we as Arab Muslims, we don't like them. We mock them.
Well, you're saying this as a former, like, as somebody who had this ideology before, correct?
Right. Whenever I say we as, you know, I'm just, you know, I'm taking it to a different historical point in time. Arab Muslims don't like Bedouins. They don't like dark-skinned Arabs. I actually had many sad encounters growing up with like seeing black people cry for no reason. Just like seeing either a Saudi or a Sudanese or something, an Arabic speaker, a Muslim practicing, just feeling the racism, feeling the oppression. And as a kid, it hurt me a lot, I think. I think this was one of the many reasons I converted. I went down south on October 7th, you know, in the morning. Whenever you think about people dying, babies and very old people, they're almost in the same bracket. Even though one is at the very beginning and one is towards the very end, they're both extremely harmless. You know, what's an old man going to do? What's an old woman going to do? What's a baby going to do? You understand? So for me, it was very painful. It was just as like seeing babies dead, seeing those
grandmas.
The grandmas. So it was so painful. And then I thought in the beginning that it has to be Photoshop. It has to be a different country. Maybe it's Russia. Maybe it's somewhere else. But then I saw the license plates in the picture. I just at the corner and I saw the flag, this tiny little blue and white flag. And then the next one, when you saw the van, first clips. Remember what I'm talking about? The first clips.
The pickup truck. That's the one I
truck.
The pickup truck with the Hamas members in the back.
Yeah, that's the first
in
one.
In Sderot or Ofakim, shooting up the town.
Then I saw that, and then I kept seeing more, and I was like, "That's right here," because I on my phone, I just, it's a Saturday, but I did it because I had to. There were rockets overhead, sirens. I'm trying to understand what's going on, but take the F out, sorry, if you can.
I can.
Yeah, but just I try not to swear. I'm working on it. No lashon hara. I'm trying to heal. I don't want to be pretentious. I'm not perfect. Nothing of the sort. But I do try hard to live according to the standards and requirements of the Torah. So I drove there as fast as I could. It was like maybe 8 in the morning, something like that. 8:30. I got there. It was about an hour drive from here to the Gaza border. It's about an hour, especially on a Saturday in the morning, but there's nothing.
What did you drive there for?
I have no idea. I thought I could go and do something, but I had no idea what I could do. I stayed there all day. From the morning, I went home at like 8 p.m., 9 p.m. During the day, whenever I saw like an ambulance or one of those zakas, whatever, I would run to them. I was like, you know, and it was like, you can't. You have to have a special permit and you have to have an ID and you have to be a volunteer and do those things. But I told myself, just wait here. Maybe something big will happen and maybe you will be useful when it does. So I was just like a spare sitting on the side, just waiting all day. But I wasn't just sitting and waiting all day because there were rockets everywhere, all the time, everywhere. I would see rockets all the time, just landing here, landing there. A rocket landed behind my car, like so close, man. It was probably one of the most depressing days of my life because I was seeing what I was seeing, hearing what I was hearing, and at the same time I was on social media all day, non-stop, from the morning to, and because I had a car, I wasn't worried because I was charging my phone the whole day in the car. It was awful. The celebrations, the way they was celebrating, watching their live streams from Gaza while it was happening, and what I was telling people, and people wouldn't believe me. I'm telling them that there are thousands. I'm telling them that there are thousands. They're like, no, a couple hundred. And I'm like, no, there are thousands. You know, I'm telling people there are thousands. I'm seeing like they look like a mass exodus. You know what I mean? Like it did not look like 200. 200, like you can see 200 here. That was not 200. And I went home. I drove back to Yafo, and I heard my neighbors celebrating. I heard people in the street.
You heard Arabs here in Yafo celebrating.
I have videos on my phone. I can send you of whenever there was like a rocket siren. My neighbors would be like, woo! I have this.
Wow.
Girls, boys, women, men. And then people come and tell me, hey, you're a radical. You know, you're a radical. Talking about all these things. No. This is happening right now, right here.
Not that you should, but I'm curious. Do you feel any sort of weird offhanded guilt or responsibility for what happens with Palestinian extremism?
Today, not anymore, but in the past, yes. And I feel like sometimes whenever I'm trying to, you know, awaken people, you know, I'm just trying to get them to wake up, I feel like it's like I'm making amends, you know what I mean, for the times where I was one of these people who sympathized these things. Because when I was 16 years old and we celebrated Gilad Shalit being kidnapped, I think I was 15 actually, sorry, not 16, 15 or 14. When that happened, you know, I didn't really understand what was going on. You know, I wasn't, man, I come from a broken house, broken family. I don't understand, you know, you're going to school, everyone's laughing, celebrating, you're joining them, you know, you come from like just a low socioeconomic. So I was never really given the tools to be a rational, critical thinker growing up. I was never really given like all of these activities after school. I never had like real proper education. So many times I feel like I had to educate myself, you know, and that was difficult. And there was no support. There was no emotional, mental support growing up. So I still feel guilty and embarrassed because, you know, I danced that day with them. You know, they were chanting. They were like, oh, it's a shame that they didn't get more. You know, they should have kidnapped more.
Do you feel accepted by the Jewish community? Like,
sure,
totally?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you ever get any pushback?
Sometimes from seculars who are a little bit concerned about the afterlife because of things they've done, but they want to admit it, so they have to convince me, not just themselves, that there's nothing out there. You know what I mean? Sometimes I come across these people, but no, it's what, point something percent of the time, you know? It's not,
but most of the time it's acceptance.
Most of the time it's acceptance, it's positive. I would say like maybe I had 2 or 3 interactions in like my 6-year journey That's nothing. I think regular Jews sometimes go through more than that. I think religious Jews sometimes go through 2 or 3 times a week or a month or a year, you know. So I think I'm blessed. I think I'm blessed in that sense, because most of the time, sometimes I felt more accepted after they found out what I am. You know what I mean? Because in the beginning I was just a regular person.
Yeah.
But then when they heard the story, all of a sudden, like, they're more intrigued to know more, to talk more, so tone, everything changes.
The topics we discussed in today's video are heavy. They make me question a lot. Timur's story makes me think about the whole existence of the state of Israel and our country as a whole, and how much positive came out of it, but how much confusion and anguish also came for so many different people. The fact that Timur has to live his life the way that he lives his life and feel the feelings that he has a direct connection to the state of Israel being created. Do I regret it? No. Do I feel like we need to apologize for the creation of the state of Israel? No. It's just conversations like this make me think about these kinds of things in a deeper way, in a way that I don't usually think about them. And I consider I found a friend in Timur. I would love to hang out with him in the future and make more content. And when you listen to somebody's story like that and you get so in depth, you really do care about what they went through in their life. And I do. I take a piece of what he told me and I'll carry it around with me. And it's hard, man. It's really hard. It's heavy. I think there's no other solution other to keep on keeping on. That's the only thing we can do. I'm going to keep on enjoying this cafe. I love you guys a long time. I'll see you in the next one.